a legacy of trust, serving Micronesia since 1938. Matson, celebrating 25 years of commitment to Guam, Micronesia, and the CNMI. Cars Plus Hyundai, home of the Kona electric vehicle, an electric heart with an SUV soul. Test drive yours today at Cars Plus. McDonald's of Guam, I'm Loving It, and King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Ahead on primetime, the island governor seeks more federal aid from the Senate committee. Plus, the U.S. Senate grills CNMI official on China's influence. And a former sailor is sentenced in first advertisement of child pornography federal case.
Hafide and good evening, everyone. Guahusi Isaiah again, and thanks for tuning in to your news leader. Governor Leon Guerrero appeared before Congress today seeking, among many other things, a new round of federal financial assistance specifically for Guam and the other territories. With tonight's top story, here's KUAM's Nestor Lecanto.
Governor Leon Guerrero appeared, along with other territorial governors, before the Senate Energy and Natural Resources Committee, which has oversight of the territories. She mentioned Guam's more than 90% plunge in tourism arrivals and how a full recovery is not expected for another 3 years.
I asked this committee to consider passing an additional relief package specifically for territories to address previous federal aid disparities and our prolonged hardship due to reliance on international tourism.
The governor actually led off her remarks seeking more funding for her proposed new hospital complex.
Last year, the House passed the Build Back Better Act, which included $347 million to construct a new hospital as recommended by the Army Corps.
Ironically, Oversight Chairman Senator Joe Manchin is largely blamed by his fellow Democrats for scuttling President Biden's BBB proposal in the Senate. Meanwhile, Leon Guerrero also asked for help with critical skilled foreign labor needs.
I ask you to extend the exemption to 2029 and establish a Guam-only temporary need criteria within the H-2B program that would recognize other qualified need as determined by the governor of Guam.
And the governor also sought compact impact reimbursement, or at least an offset of the $150 million GovGuam estimates it spends each year on COFA migrants.
I just want to make it very clear that we love our brothers and sisters from the islands and we want to help as much as we can. But we would like to have the financial means and the funding source to continue on with that help.
Today marked the first Senate oversight hearing on the state of the territories since 2019. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
At a U.S. Senate committee hearing examining the state of U.S. territories, CNMI Secretary of Finance David Atelig was prepared with questions by U.S. senators about China's influence in the Pacific, dodging questions about investment in the gaming industry. KUAM's Tomas Manglotnia reports.
The Northern Mariana Islands singled out by U.S. senators on China's reach in the Pacific.
As we talk about the influence and the presence of China in the Indo-Pacific area of responsibility, I think that they very much had a presence in CNMI. Correct, Mr. Secretary? Mr. Secretary?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Their presence were in terms of bringing tourists in.
Yes, so they had quite a presence, and I think they were bringing gaming into CNMI.
NMI Secretary of Finance David Atelig testifying on behalf of Governor Ralph Torres, who recently tested positive for COVID before the Senate Committee on Energy and Natural Resources at the nation's capital. Senators peppered him with questions about China's tension in the region.
Are you concerned about China's moves in the Pacific with regards to your neighbors, where China might try and build military installations or expand illegal fishing? And what would that mean to the economy and your nations and your security?
Atelig seemed to be caught by surprise.
But to the question of the economic dominance that they're trying to do in other neighboring islands, I don't have a straight answer from our position. We do know that other islands are benefiting, financially in terms of economic input into their economy, but we're under the U.S. flag, so we seek to this body for our assistance, and we continue to build on our partnerships. So I will bring back this question to our leadership and make sure we have a thorough answer and response for the committee.
What Atalik failed to mention is the influence of Hong Kong-based Imperial Pacific International's Best Sunshine Casino on Saipan, which secured an exclusive casino license in 2014, with big promises, including over 2,000 guest rooms, 17,000 square meters of gaming floor, and a $100 million themed entertainment facility. The total cost then mounted to $3.14 billion. Those are now essentially gutted after facing countless federal lawsuits totaling millions related to inhumane and dangerous working conditions. In one case, the NMI District Court ordered the company to pay 7 Chinese workers over $5 million for dangerous conditions last May.
So go back 2019 and before, because we saw a pretty rapid rise of Chinese nationals construction. I know there were several different challenges with labor laws being violated with the 45-day basically visa process to be able to come from China, that we saw some Chinese companies coming and doing construction, bringing in Chinese nationals, not paying them basic wages there, and then moving back and forth. What do you anticipate happens once we get to the other side of COVID, even so, Lord come, when that day comes? What do you anticipate happens? Do we return right back to that again?
No, thank you for that question. This pandemic gave us an opportunity to revisit a lot of the policies we have as a Commonwealth. And one of the issues is in our tourism sector.
Atalik says the pandemic acted as a reset to revisit policy decisions.
Appreciate that. Obviously, we don't want to hurt tourism. That's a major feature of the economy, and we understand that, want to be able to recover again. But we want to be able to protect the integrity of the workforce, what's actually happening there.
Tomas Manglotnya for KUAM News.
The territorial governors met earlier in the day with senior White House, congressional, and government agency officials for the interagency group on insular areas hosted by the U.S. Interior Department. Governor Leon Guerrero pointed out 2 particular concerns. She said the language in the Federal Digital Equity Act excludes non-states and requested that the law be amended so that territories can also benefit from the proposed $2.75 billion broadband expansion program. Leon Guerrero also requested to change the formula for the Airport Infrastructure Grant Program. The governor said beginning in 2024, the formula for determining awards will use fiscal year 2022 implements, but that would mean Guam's number would be very low because of the drastic plunge in visitor arrivals from our main tourism markets. During their weekly briefing this morning, Public Health released the findings of a joint investigation with the CDC into last year's COVID-19 related fatalities. The investigation also assessed common characteristics associated with the transmission, severity, and surge of dead-on-arrival cases, despite the island's high vaccination rate. KUAM's Daniel Perez reports.
In 2021, there were a total of 145 COVID-19 related fatalities. A majority, or 127, occurred during the island's third surge of COVID-19, which occurred between July 8th and December 31st, 2021. Of that number, 49 were dead on arrival. The investigation found that a majority of all the COVID-19 related deaths in 2021 skewed toward males and the island's elderly populations. CDC epidemiologist Dr. Scott Laney.
Our key takeaway findings is that 80% of the DOAs were unvaccinated. In addition, 63% were over 60 years of age and 63% male. So the unvaccinated issue is very, very important with regards to the DOAs. Health and other disparities were observed among the DOAs as well, including diabetes, chronic renal disease, and cardiovascular disease rates that were elevated compared to the prevalence in the population.
Other findings of the investigation determined that nearly all the DOAs were associated with a Delta surge. Over 1/4 had an education level less than the 12th grade. 67% of COVID-related fatalities in 2021 had a combined household income of less than $35,000 a year. 22% had a household income of less than $10,000, and almost 24% did not have health insurance. While the study has been completed, the CDC and Public Health continue investigating current trends. In the past 2 days alone, there have been 8 dead on arrivals to local hospitals. Territorial epidemiologist Dr. Ann Pobutsky.
Most of them have occurred in the past 3 weeks. There's been 21 deaths in January 2022, of which 13, or 2/3 almost, were dead on arrivals. So we are seeing this surge during what we believe is Omicron. And we're seeing something similar where we're seeing elderly people.
Of the DOAs this year, 9 were fully vaccinated, 4 of whom were boosted. Lead epidemiologist for State Epidemiological Outcomes Work Group, Dr. Annette David, urges residents to stay vigilant against the virus.
We want folks to seek care early to avoid hospitalization. So if you have symptoms and you're at high risk, get tested. If you test positive, make sure you speak to a physician to see if you qualify for the antivirals or the monoclonal antibodies. And the point is to try and do everything that we can early to avoid hospitalization, to protect you before you even need to be at the hospital.
Daniel Perez reporting for Guam's News Network.
We should note since January, more than 13,000 people have tested positive for COVID-19. In other news, the skilled nursing facility is still up and running, treating non-COVID while undergoing changes to turn it into an alternate care facility. The Guam Memorial Hospital Authority had to submit a rescope on the ACF and are awaiting to hear back from FEMA. GMHA spokesperson May Habib gave KUAM News the latest on the project.
The plan was to really refit the facility to make it an alternate care facility at any time through any issues that the island may face, any future pandemics, any future viral infections like we're seeing right now. And FEMA wanted it to be very much focused on COVID and the current pandemic right now, as opposed to just like a long-term alternate care facility. They wanted it for right now, even if it's just temporary. So we did have to rescope it a little bit to work around what they were looking for specifically, which is just specific to COVID instead of just a long-term alternate care facility.
There are currently 23 non-COVID patients admitted in the SNF. Habib added that GMHA recently put in new chillers to ensure that the HVAC systems are upgraded and able to support the ACF. There is no indefinite date of when the ACF will be complete, but discussions and planning for the facility continues. Was Austin Dodge a consumer of child pornography or an advertiser? More importantly, what's the difference between the two? That question was clarified today in the District Court of Guam. KUAM's Tyler Matsanani reports.
23-year-old Austin Dodge appeared via Zoom from Florida with his father by his side. He's one of the youngest defendants to be sentenced before Chief Judge Francis Tidinko Gatewood and the first to be charged with advertisement of child pornography. He pleaded guilty in November of 2021 after he was busted for sharing a link to a file that contained approximately 18 videos of underage girls engaging in sexual activity. That file was shared amongst 41 other people in the online chat room known as LiveMe. The court continued his sentencing to this month because it needed further clarification on what it meant to be a consumer of child pornography versus an advertiser. Today, it was made clear that Dodge's offense was more severe because instead of just viewing the illegal content, he created a link and shared it. The prosecution was seeking a 7-year sentence. Ultimately, he was sentenced a little over 5 years since it was his first offense and has no prior record. He addressed the court. Quote, "When I first started dabbling into this, I never thought of what I was doing. I didn't realize at the time the extent of what I was actually doing." He expressed that he felt disgusted and miserable after just 2 months of engaging in the illegal activity. Quote, "Even to this day, I still feel bad and miserable and resentful to what I did." He continued, quote, "I'm sorry to any of the girls that were in those videos. I didn't think at the time I was doing them any harm, but now I see how it is doing them harm. I really wish that this would have never happened, both for me, for them, for everyone." He will be on 10-year supervised release after serving his sentence, must register as a sex offender, and pay a $100 special assessment fee. Dodge was stationed at Naval Base Guam at the time of the incident. He will serve time at a federal prison in Florida. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Tyler Matsanani.
Tyler Matsanani, thank you for that report. Judge Alberto Tolentino has been appointed to Joey Terlahi's case after a 4th judge rescued herself, according to Superior Court PIO Mike Kilakwa. it's been a challenge finding a judge for the former Department of Corrections Deputy Director and Superior Court Marshal who found himself in some trouble with former Jotnya Mayor Jesse Blas. Previous judges have stepped down claiming conflict interest due to personal ties. Terlahi also is the son of Senator Pito Terlahi, current legislative chair of Public Safety. According to our news files, in 2017, Joey Terlahi attended a barbecue where Blas allegedly beat a woman and held her captive for days. He is accused of exposing the victim to risk of serious bodily injury and for ignoring and abusing his position as a government official in relation to a crime. The Department of Corrections has seen its fair share of COVID cases during the Omicron surge. DOC spokesperson Major Anton Uggan tells KUAM News the prison has had 29 employees positive for the virus since January 10th. Of those 29, 28 were correction officers and 1 was a civilian staffer. 21 of the 29 cases have already been cleared and the rest remain in isolation. 10 of the prison's 630 prisoners are positive and all are isolated at DOC's isolation facility. Of the 10 positives, half are vaccinated and 1 of the vaccinated received a booster. The major also shared that 188 DOC employees are fully vaccinated, with 56 in receipt of their booster shot. 7 employees are not fully vaccinated. And once again, we invite you to voice your view across our social media pages with our daily question. Today, we're asking parents, will you get your child under 5 years old vaccinated if the Pfizer vaccine is approved for emergency use authorization? Why or why not? We'll share responses on the link. Stick around for more news here on Primetime. Coming up, the potential site for a customs inspection facility. And with the rise in COVID cases, how have the island's private schools been handling it? These stories and more when KUAM Primetime returns.
Don't need a work break, keep the smile on your face. The moments you can't replace, and I'll be around. Whoa, you can count on me. You can count on me for life.
Wherever life takes you, we're always here for you. Calvo's Insurance. Count on us for life.
Half a day. As we look ahead to a brighter tomorrow, Matson's commitment to Guam and Micronesia remains stronger than ever. While the world around us is ever-changing, what remains unchanged is our commitment to you, our customers, and the island communities we serve. Shipping is what we do best, and serving our community is at the heart of everything we do. But we don't do it alone. This is why we support organizations that make caring for the people and the environment a top priority. We know that many count on Matson's lifeline services in the Pacific, and that's why we continue to work hard to ensure that our shipments remain on time all the time. Matson recently added another Aloha-class vessel to our schedule. We now have 2 of Matson's largest and fastest ships serving Guam from the U.S. West Coast and Hawaii. With our new state-of-the-art vessels, we stand ready to support the region's economic recovery. Thank you for the privilege of serving you for the last 25 years. And you can count on Matson to be here for the next 25 years and beyond.
When the pandemic first started and we had no idea that it was going to affect our business till March of 2020. Orders from public health, roadblocks, restriction. It was a very hard time for me. What really has saved my business is the SBA and the PPP program. I felt keeping the employees was so important because I had faith that my government would help me later, the federal government. We applied and we received 2 PPP loans equaling up to $425,000. That money saved me because it's been 2 years. I think 80 or 90% of the restaurants have closed. The only reason I'm here because of my devoted clientele and the federal government.
Thank you for helping save jobs with federal funds.
Thank you to the federal government for all the federal ARP money.
Thank you for the federal funds.
This ad was paid for with official funds from the office of Congressman Michael F.Q. San Nicolas.
Let us know what's up on our KUAM News WhatsApp tip line at 671-727-0094. Share information about what's happening in your town, on Guam or the CNMI, and what you want us to know. Reach us on WhatsApp at 671-727-0094.
Welcome back to your news leader. Senator James Moylan's Bill 128-36 aims to reduce illegal imports and invasive species into Guam. However, it's at a standstill when it comes to finding the money to do it. KUAM's Tyler Metanani has this story.
It's currently an empty lot filled with overgrowth. But Senator James Moylan hopes that it will soon be turned into what would be known as the Customs Satellite Inspection Holding and Secured Sterile Facility Area. It's a big title with an even bigger purpose.
The facility would allow Customs to identify and address invasive species that continue to plague our island, but it would also help to reduce the amount of illegal drugs that directly impact Guam residents.
So what we're doing is we're compromising now with coming back with a substitute bill, which we're hoping for a second public hearing on, and reducing that amount from up to $15 million to up to $2 million, no more than $2 million.
Senator Moylan, author of Bill 218-36, is calling on the administration to hold a second session to locate a funding source for the project. He's currently seeking $2 million to start the architect and engineering design, which he says would be likely from either the general, special, or federal funding available. The lease agreement with the Port Authority and Guam Customs was already extended once.
We must get the ground broken, otherwise we're going to be in the same predicament we were previously and having to extend the lease agreement once again. The first public hearing that we have for this bill did not have the presence of the BBMR, Bureau of Budget and Finance. And we're hoping the governor can support us by having them attend. Many of my colleagues would need this to happen so we can ask questions about the funding for this source.
The long-term goal is to make it a multi-purpose facility. Moylan says they hope to reduce the island's drug epidemic by installing X-ray scanners that would screen shipping containers as they're driven through. It would also allow the Department of Rev and Tax to tax goods that would otherwise be overlooked and prevent invasive species from coming into Guam.
It's like making your first touchdown in the game. I think that would totally motivate Customs and Quarantine. We're on a roll, finally, after all these years.
Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Tyler Matanani.
While Guam is in its fourth COVID-19 surge, how has the island's private schools adapted to the pandemic? Here's more on St. John's School.
With the island recording triple-digit numbers of COVID-19 in the last 4 weeks, some schools were forced to switch operations from in-person instruction to online temporarily. But that's not the case for St. John's School. The school year started off with one model of learning, which is face-to-face, but according to St. John's assistant head of upper and middle school, Bob Kelly, once cases started surging in early January, they began offering students both in-person and online learning 2 days after returning from the Christmas break on January 10th.
But it's very difficult to do the dual modality, but we've had it now for 2 weeks. It is a very challenging thing to do, so I really want to give a shout out to our teachers who are doing this model and really fantastically and doing the best they possibly can.
About 5 to 10% of the student body is currently attending classes remotely from home. There is no set timeline for when all 520 students will return back to campus for in-person instruction.
The big question is, when are we going to come back to all face-to-face? I don't have a specific objective number that says when it reaches, then we will.
Kelly noticed St. John's School experienced a little spike about a week ago. However, it does not appear that it was through school transmission. He shared their COVID safety measures.
The biggest thing that we do is masks and distancing. The one thing is desks, spacing in desks, and the other thing is consistent mask usage. Those seem to be the two things that the studies would indicate limit the transmission in schools.
A vast majority of employees and students are vaccinated against COVID, and only one staff member is exempted for religious reasons. There is no COVID vaccine requirement for students. Although St. John's School saw an increase in student enrollment this year, Kelly shared that distancing desks within a classroom isn't much of a challenge. In fact, desks can be spaced out about 2 meters apart in classrooms. Unlike the Guam Department of Education deploying employees to assist with staffing shortages, Kelly pointed out that St. John's School may go fully if it comes to a point where employee COVID cases get out of hand.
So far, no. We've had a few teachers here and a few teachers there, and the woman who arranges our substitutes has been doing a great job.
29-year-old JJ Tamangog is facing child abuse and other charges after allegedly assaulting a woman and her children, some of which were caught on camera. According to a magistrate's complaint, the woman reported to officers on January 31st that Tamangog had been assaulting her for 6 years. She said Tamangog had punched her 9-year-old child on one occasion and recently slapped and punched her in the face. On January 30th, he allegedly beat a 3-year-old child with a wooden spoon and slapped him in the face. That incident was caught on surveillance where police observed Tamangog also kicking the child twice, at least once in the head. He was charged with child abuse as a third-degree felony, family violence as a third-degree felony, 3 counts of child abuse as a misdemeanor, and 5 counts of family violence as a misdemeanor. 36-year-old Teresa James Douglas was also arrested and charged with 2 counts each of child abuse and family violence as misdemeanors. According to a magistrate's complaint, a witness reported that on January 31st, he saw Douglas chase and hit 2 children with a hanger. He said while he was dropping Douglas home, she also allegedly dragged the 10-year-old child from the car and began to choke her. Officers noted the child had red marks on her arms and legs. Coming up on Primetime, a 29-year-old woman born and raised on Guam is making a run to represent Californians in the U.S. Congress. And still to come are your Coats on Creamery birthday shoutouts. You're watching KUAM.
Beautiful. It is, right, baby?
Dad, isn't that where we usually stop for gas?
It's where we used to stop, but not anymore.
But isn't that the place with the milkshakes?
Okay, all right, let's go.
Good job, kids.
Take your adventure further in the first ever Santa Fe Hybrid.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
Mobile Smiles just got bigger and better. Get more Smiles points for every gallon of fuel you purchase. Or get more miles with United Mileage Plus. Register your Smiles card online to start redeeming rewards today at guam.mobilesmiles.com.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
The Guam Badminton Sports Center, located on Bella Road, is a 10,000 square foot gym that can host badminton, pickleball, tennis, and other indoor activities.
We see Guam with 160,000 population, and there's limited opportunity for people to enjoy sports indoor, because especially on Guam, it's very hot outside, it's raining all the time. And then also we see the growing of sport of badminton and pickleball, and also the need for indoor space for tennis. That's why that motivated us to develop an indoor venue where people can access badminton, pickleball, and tennis.
The gym has 6 badminton courts. The Guam Badminton Sports Center is home to 70 badminton players.
It feels great, man. Throughout the years that I've been playing, this is the best development on Guam that I've seen so far. Given the new facility, right, the courts itself, it gives us better consistency when our movements. Unlike the other courts that we played at, there's times where it's raining and it gets inconsistent, slippery, and having a court like this just helps with the impact, slipping, avoid injury, and all of that.
The Guam National Badminton Federation is excited to have a place to call home as they prepare for the upcoming Pacific Mini Games to be held in Saipan.
A facility like this is just like a dream come true for our federation. I mean, we've been wanting to have a home where we can grow the sports, and through Ray, I mean, now we have a world-class facilities, which we can allow us to do a lot of training as we are preparing for the Mini Pacific game this summer. So this is just good for the overall sport of badminton.
The University of Guam men's basketball team and women's basketball team found it challenging to secure a win at the Agana City Slam 3-on-3 tournament hosted by Clutch Guam and Crowns Guam. Although there were a few close games, both teams could not overcome their losing streaks. All UOG games were recorded and can be watched on the Triton's Athletics YouTube channel.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Need a new phone? Trade in now and get up to $500 off our best 5G devices. Trade in your older phone in any condition and step up to better savings and speeds only our 5G network can provide. Check out our website and catch up on the best mobile experience. Trade in now. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Buenas Zanhafadi. Part of taking care of yourself is participating in cancer screening. Make it a point to see your doctor at least once a year for an annual visit to discuss your risk and to determine which tests are right for you. Many tests are free or covered by insurance, and there may be programs to help those who don't have insurance. Cancer screening can save your life. There are screening tests that can catch cancer early when it may be easier to treat. So learn more at cancer.org/getscreened.
Welcome back. A proud Guamanian is leaving her career as a software engineer in California to run for U.S. Congress. KUAM's Tomas Maglonia sits down with Kylie Titano.
I'm running because we're out of time. You know, my generation, people's children's, grandchildren's generations, our people on Guam, we're out of time.
29-year-old Kylie Titano says the time is now for bold change.
We need new leaders, we need a new Congress, and we especially need leaders who are not corrupt and not beholden to big corporations and money.
The Filipina Chamorro was born and raised on Guam. Her grandparents still live on island. She spent the past 11 years living in San Diego and working as a software engineer, co-founding the nonprofit Code with Her to close the gender gap in tech. But now she's throwing her hat in the political arena, running to represent Californians in U.S. Congress.
On the campaign trail, I am telling people about Enough Malik, right? And how our community is based on respect and reciprocity and caring for each other. And I'm finding that that's actually resounding with a lot of the voters here.
Her grassroots campaign driven by a progressive agenda. She supports the Green New Deal, healthcare for all, investments in public education, and immigration rights. She's hoping to offer a fresh perspective on long-standing issues.
I would be a congresswoman, just like Congressman Sablon and Congressman Nicholas. I would be actually able to represent not only just San Diego, but I would be able to work on federal law that affects everybody, including the territories. So that's why this, pursuing this campaign is extra special to me.
That advocacy also reaching into her backyard, as San Diego is home to one of the largest Pacific Islander populations in the mainland. It's work that she does not take lightly.
This is huge. It's huge for our people. Again, to be able to actually have like a platform to say like, we are Chamorro, we're here. We're just not some, small little island that only gets attention when military buildup or tensions happen. We are a people who care about community, and that's what I hope to really be able to campaign on.
Tomas Maglonia for KUAM News.
After searching for island residents to care for over 500 of Guam's foster children in need of placement, the Gift of Family campaign accomplishes recruiting 19 foster families in the last 5 months. The Mayor's Council of Guam announced this achievement late this afternoon, stating, quote, CPS has received 19 new foster families to date, end quote. There is only 36 licensed foster families. The MCOG, in partnership with Harvest House and the Archdiocese of Agana, launched the recruitment drive in October of last year to address the shortage of foster families on the island. Although the MCOG achieved their goal, the campaign will continue through May, which is Foster Care Month. And before we close out the news tonight, our latest round of the birthday shoutouts from the Coldstone Creamery Birthday Club.
Happy February 2nd birthday on this Wednesday in 2022 to Logan Michael Uggan Francisco. Happy birthday, Logie. Your family says we love you. Ariana Marie, happy birthday number 5 to our beautiful granddaughter, and may you have a blessed and joyous day. We love you, say Papa Roki and Grandma Kathy. Makena Regis, happy birthday number 9 to you, and we love you past the stars. That's a lot of love. That's a far distance. Your family is sending you all of their love. Aliana Gay, we would like to wish you a wonderful sweet 16. We love you so much, says your entire family from Barrigada. Andrea Marie, happy blessed 15th birthday to you, and may you have the happiest and greatest day ever. Bula love from your family. And Vince is our sole belated birthday celebrant. Vince was born on February the 1st. Happy birthday to our rock, and your family says we love you.
That's going to do it for us here on Primetime this Wednesday evening. Guahusi Isaiah Uggan, thank you for watching, and good night, Marianas.
In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises Inc. and IT&E.
Happy day, everyone, and